Anyway, let's go on. Wayatin, O Tom, Be Mishmar, Beth, Zor, Hata Bahim, El, Beth, Ha Sahar, Megom, Asher, Yosef, Ashur, Sham. And now I know what I was trying to do, because when I got up here and looked at these glasses, and I have to stick my head down there like that. Anyway, I had them. They're supposed to get them back to me so I can see what I'm doing again. It sure makes a difference when you got the glasses that you can read with when you're standing up teaching. But I taught a lot, so I got those glasses. And he kept on giving them into the custody, into the Mishmar, the prison, the house that is surrounded, the enclosed area. That's what that means right there. Mishmar. Unto this enclosed house, in-house of the Sar, that means the chief, of the slayer, the slaughterer. That word slaughter and slay there. The chief executioners. All right, the chief executioner, the slaughterer. Unto the house of the enclosure, Hasahar, of the place where Joseph imprisoned there, being imprisoned there, having been imprisoned there. Having been imprisoned there. All right, 40 and verse 4 now. I think I can read better without my glasses until I get the other ones. Why, yeah. No, I can't either. Stick my face down there on it. Why, yeah, for God, Sar, Hata Bahim, Et, Yosef, Itam, Washareth, Otam, Wayeyu, Yamim, Be Mishmar. And he kept on appointing the head chief of the slaughterers. This word is an unusual word, that tabah. That is a unusual word. It means to be the chief slaughterer. This is the man that went out and slaughtered all of the fresh animals, the geese, the ducks, the fish, whatever they would eat. This is a man that went out and picked the animals out and slaughtered them. He personally did this. So this was a very important man, wasn't it, this guy? And the Pharaoh's life was at stake because people poisoned people back then. And I know what that feels like. Personally, they didn't want to get any arsenic or mercury in their drinks or food. The slaughterer, and it also sometimes means bodyguard, but probably not in this case. Joseph with them, and he kept on intensely attending and caring for them. And they became days in custody. All right? And the days became, or the days rubbed out in this custody. Why Yachalmu. Halom. Shenahim. Ish. Halamo. Bilaila. Ekad. Ish. Kefet Ron. Shalomah. Ha Mashke. We Ha Fe. Asher. And it goes on a little further. Limelech. Mitzrayim. Ashi. Asarim. Baveth. Ha Sahar. And they kept on dreaming a dream. Look at that word dreaming there. They kept on dreaming in a dream. enopion, enhypnion, in a hypnosis, in a hypnotic trance. They kept on being in a hypnotic trance. Dreams have been used by people for years. Have you ever had a dream that was repetitious? A repetitious dream? Indians, if they had a repetitious dream, it meant something. It was going to be, it meant something. And they were in a hypnotic trance, kept on being in a hypnotic trance. The two of them, each in his dream. Haloma. In his dream. He kept on being in this hypnotic trance in his dream. Genesis 40 and verse 5. In the night, Balila. Say Balila. Balila. All right. Ba is what? That's preposition. Lila is night. Ba-Lila. The name Lila, the woman's name, Lila, means night. A woman of the night. All right. Balila. Or each in night, Ahad. Ahad. Ahad is what? One. And it says in Genesis 1, it says, and it said what God had restored, and he says, and became day Ehad. Day one. And became day one. After all this happened, became day one. Okay? Here we have the word one, Ehad. Ish. Kafetron. Shalamo. Ha mashke. We ha afe. Asher. Limelech. Mitzrayim. Asher. Asurim. Babeth. Ha-Sahar. I read that again for you, Brother Mike, so you get to hear it. All right? And they kept on being in this hypnotic trance, this dream, the two of them, each one his dream in the night, one, according to the interpretation, Kafetron, according to the interpretation of his dream. And the cupbearer, the chief wine taster, that's what it is. That's ha-mashkeh. The chief wine taster. In Greek, it's archi-oinoku. Archi-oinoku. Oinos is, in Greek is wine. All right. The chief wine taster, and then the one baking. Look at this one. And the one baking. Now it says, see that we on the front of that, that's and the one baking, there's a practical substantive in there, and it's masculine singular called participle. Archi-istopiu. The baking one who, 40 and verse 5 that is, Limelech. Melech. What's Melech? King. All right. Basileia. Basileos in Greek. This is the king. All right, the king. Malek and Melech are very close. What does Malek mean? Malek. What? Malek. That's an angel. An angel. Malek is angel. Melech is king. All right. And then Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim. Look at that word Mitzrayim. Can you say that, Brother Mike? Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim. That's how you say Egypt in Hebrew. Mitzrayim. Say that, guys and girls. Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim. All right. What is it? What is it in Greek? How do you say Egypt? How do you say Egypt in Greek? Egyptos. Thank you. That's exactly how we got our word. Is from the Greek, not from the Hebrew. In the New Testament, when you see this, you can write it out. Misraim is how you write it in Greek. Misraim. It's Mitzrayim in Hebrew. Misraim if you transliterated it over, and it's Egyptos if you use the Greek word for it. What does Mitzrayim mean? Of land of red mud and canals and banks and bulwarks. That's what the land. That's what Mitzrayim means. Who? Here we have that little particle of relation, Asher. Imprisoned, being bound is what it literally means. Masculine, plural, past participle. having been bound, in house of the enclosure, the surrounded area, the fenced-off area, like the prison's walls or the prison fences. 40 and verse 6 now. 40 and verse 6. Vayavo. Alehem. Yosef. Babokar. Vayar. Otam. Wehinam. Zoafim. Let's go look in here. And kept on coming in unto them Joseph. In the plowing of the light. That's what it literally says. In the plowing of the light. Why does it mean the plowing of the light?
It comes from Boker.
It comes from Boker, which we get our word cow. A cow that can be used and hooked up to a plow is one that breaks. A cow that's big enough, an animal, a draft animal that's big enough to break ground with a plow. To break ground with a plow. You know that in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, when my great-great-grandfather went there, he was on a scouting expedition. He saw it there, and this was wild Comanche country. But the grass was so thick in the ground that they said it took 8 oxen to pull a plow through that ground. 8 oxen to pull a plow to cut through that deep, thick bluegrass soil. 8 oxen. Well, the word boker, or oxen, or cow, or draft animal, it means literally to break. And here we have baboker. It means in the plowing of the daylight, in the breaking forth of the daylight. And he saw them, and behold, Wehenam, and behold, masculine plural cow participle, and being very depressed and troubled and sad, probably crying. They were probably moaning and groaning and crying, okay? And they kept on doing that. These prisoners did. Who was this? This is the chief baker and the chief wine taster. Very important people to Pharaoh now. And what had these people done to Pharaoh, by the way? It said that they had sinned against him. They had sinned. They had missed the mark. Chatah. Remember, they had sinned against Pharaoh. So they did something wrong. I don't know what they did, but they did something very wrong. Enough wrong to maybe get them executed. Okay? Why Yisha'al et Saris Pharaoh Asher Ito Be Mishmar Beth Adonah Limor Madu'ah Penakim Raim Hayom. All right? And he kept on asking the eunuchs now here. These are words of eunuchs. That's saris. That right there, the word saris, that means eunuch. It means one that's been emasculated, one that's been castrated, one that has become impotent, or one immaculate, emasculate. All right? That's what these people are. All right? These are eunuchs. In the house of Pharaoh, he would not allow any men intact because he had women. And he didn't want any men intact in the house. Now, Potiphar, what was Potiphar's problem with his wife? Potiphar had a wife, but he only had her for looks because he was a eunuch. Okay? Potiphar was a eunuch, and he had no real physical need for a wife. But he had one for display. She was a beautiful woman. She was attractive. She went with him. And then when Joseph came in the house, this woman that felt left out and abandoned, so to speak, or here she is, a beautiful woman, but she has no man. So she picks on Joseph and said, I want to be with you. And he said, no way. Not going to happen. That guy was a eunuch also. He was a eunuch also. Well, here are these eunuchs. More impotent people, eunuchs. Eunuchs of Pharaoh. 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 What does Pharaoh mean? What is the root of Pharaoh? Remember the root for Pharaoh. Dakota, you remember that? Pharaoh. Pharaoh. What is that? What does that mean? You remember? Pam, you remember what Pharaoh mean? I don't think I told you yet. Yeah, you'd have remembered. Brother Mike, if I'd have told you, you'd have had it. I guarantee you'd have caught it like a ball. Big old mitt. It means big house. The person that lives in the big house. All right? Now put down there, the person that lives in the big house. That's what Pharaoh means, the person that lives in the big house. Who, with him in custody, in prison, all right, be Mishmar, in house, Beth. 2 Hebrew words, or letters. Aleph, all right, means what? It means, what does it really mean? The Aleph in the Hebrew alphabet, what does it mean? The idea is the head of an ox. That's what it originally looks like, okay? The head of an ox. It means the first, all right? And the word father is Abba, isn't it? It means the head or the father or the head of the house. Beth. That's the term for Beth. Here we have head, and the next letter of the Hebrew alphabet is house. Okay, that's how it starts, at house. Beth. Aleph, Beth. Isn't that simple? In house, Beth, Adonai, of his Lord. Look at that word Adonai. That means king, doesn't it? Saying, Kyle infinitive construct, saying, that's from Amir, see that? Why your faces, Ra'im, Ra, that word Ra. Think about that word Ra. Ra is evil. It is evil. Evil and sad. Evil and sad. They did which was evil. Evil. Wicked. Why are your faces sad, evil, wicked, as if you are an egg-sucking dog, as they used to say? Ha-yom. All through the day. All through the day. Ha-yom. Yom is day. Your faces are evil, sick, sad, all through the day. 40 and verse 8 now. Wayom maru. Elah. Halom. Halamnu. Ufater. In. Otah. Wayomer. Alahim. Yosef. Halo. Le'elhim. Petromim. Saparu. Na. Li. And they said, they kept on saying unto him, dream. In hypnion. That word hypnosis comes from that word right there, the word hypnosis. We looked at that a little bit earlier. When you see the word halom in Greek is hypnose. We get our word. All medical terms come from what? Greek. All right? And a medical term, they say a long time ago, in Egypt, they hypnotized people when they were going to operate on them. Down in South America, they were in America was. They know now that in America was the most heavily populated place in the world, and in South and Central and Mesoamerica, they were practicing dentistry, and they were practicing all types of brain surgery and everything you can think of, all kinds of medical things. And they, according to what written records they have now, they were using hypnosis as one of the major ways for to induce or to use as anesthesia, so you wouldn't hurt while they're operating on you. All right. And God speaks to people in dreams, doesn't He? Back in these times. Back in these times, they spoke to people in dreams. In a dream. And we have dreamed. First person construct, plural, cal, perfect. We have dreamed, And one interpreting, masculine singular cow participle, not is. Let the word "an" there. The word "ain" there means not. That's an adverb of negation. Not it. And he said unto them, Joseph. What's Joseph mean? Think about Joseph. What's Joseph mean? Joseph. To add to it, to increase, to abound. All right? That's what Joseph means. Page 415 in Brown, Driver, and Briggs. The not to God, to Elohim. Le Elohim. Let's say Elohim together. Elohim. That is the word for God. Elohim. That's the whole Godhead. Pit ro mim. Interpretations. And then a sa feru. That means to count or to rehearse. And that's masculine plural PL. God can count or rehearse. The power of an interpreter is by the power of God. He interprets or recounts the dream. Okay? And then he says, please. That's na. That's a particle of entreaty. Na. Say na. Na means please. Na means please. To me. Li. 48 or 40 in verse 9. Why saper sar ha mashkim et halomao le Yosef Wayomer lo bahalomi wihene gofen lefane. All right. And he counted. That's in a PL stem. What's PL stem? What's that mean? What does a PL stem mean? Remember how Cain slew his brother Abel? It was in the PL stem, wasn't it? That's intentionally. All right? And these old boys were really, really excited. All right? They were really excited. They found somebody maybe that could interpret their dreams, and they had these dreams, and they're sad and just totally distraught all day long. Now here comes a man, and they excitedly and with great force, they rehearsed or kept on recounting or rehearsing. Third person masculine singular PL while consecutive and perfect. The chief, the cupbearers. This guy's a wine taster. Okay, he's a wine taster. His dream, his, what could we call that? His spiritual experience, his hypnotic trance that he had, to Joseph. Le Yosef. Le is a preposition, page 515, remember? Le. To Joseph. And he said, third person masculine singular cal while consecutive and perfect, and he kept on saying to him, in my dream, in my hypnotic trance, and behold, wihene, a vine, gefen. What is the word in Greek for that word? Vine. Genomatos tes amplu, the fruit of the amplu of the vine. Amplu is that word, amplu. The vine, this grapevine, was before me, was before my face, is what it literally says, was before my nose, before my face. This grapevine just kept being right in my face. Le fane. 40 in verse 10. You ba gefen. Shilosha. Sarakim. Wihi. Kafaratar. Tar. Ka. I'll say it in a minute. Kafarat. Kafarath. That's it. Kafarath. Alita. Netsa. Hiv Shilu. Ash Ki Lo Tiha. Anavim. And in vine, in ampelu, in the line, in the vine. 3. That's trace in Hebrew, in 3 shoots. All right, in 3 shoots. 3 shoots. Have you ever seen a grape shoot vine? Have you ever seen one grow? They climb and they clamber all over everything, don't they? You got some grapevines out there? No grapevines? They climb and they just grab a hold of things and they do this. That's what he's talking about. There's 3 shoots. There's 3 shoots. And he says the shoots are she. And she, at her budding, the fruits, all trees and everything are looked upon as feminine, by the way. There are masculine trees, by the way, but in Hebrew, they're feminine. They're feminine. Some palm trees, they need a masculine and a feminine tree before they will bear fruit, won't they? All right, so there are masculine and feminine trees, but the Hebrew just calls all vines and all trees and plants and everything, calls them hers. All right, she's. They're feminine. In her budding, feminine singular, cow participle. And she went up. She had gone up. Third person feminine singular, cow perfect. And she had gone up her blossom. All right? And they ripened. And they ripened. They had ripened her clusters of grapes. Her clusters of grapes. Grapefruit. Why is grapefruit called grapefruit? Why is grapefruit called grapefruit? It's a citrus fruit, isn't it? Why is grapefruit called a grapefruit? Marilyn?
I'm trying to think why they'd call it.
Why is grapefruit called grapefruit?
Because it's in section.
Because it comes, if you will look on a grapefruit tree, it hangs down with clusters of these orange-looking fruit on it like that. Just like a grape. So they call it grapefruit. Okay? That's why they call it grapefruit. So the clusters of grapes. All right? He's talking about the clusters of grapes hanging down. And where are they? Where's all this taking place? Right in front of his nose. God wanted him to see this. This was a dream from God, by the way. This was a hypnotic trance from God. God sent these people these dreams. Okay? We kos. Paro. Now look at the word, here it's paro instead of pharaoh. It's the same word, but it's pronounced differently for euphony. We kar paro, okay, ba yede, wa eka, et, hanavim, ha-anavim. We eshat, otam, el, kos, payroll, wa eten, et, ha-kos, al, kaf, paro. And a cup of Pharaoh. Now, this is Pharaoh in Greek. All right, that's Pharaoh in Greek right here. Pharaoh. That's it in Greek. Pharaoh. Pharaoh. Now, what does Pharaoh mean in Greek? What does Pharaoh mean in Greek? Different than Hebrew. What's Pharaoh mean in Greek? To bear. To bear. To bear. But this root is from the Hebrew. And what does the name Pharaoh mean in Hebrew? What does the word Pharaoh mean? Thank you, Brother Mike. You got an A+ for night. The guy that lives in the big house. The guy that lives in the big house. The Pharaoh, the cup of Pharaoh in my hand. And I took. I kept on taking. Et is a what? What is et? Sign of the direct object. What is the Greek sign of the direct object? H. In Hebrew it's this. And in Greek, it is this. And in Greek, the idea of the grammatical idea is extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. In Hebrew, it just means, basically, it means actions coming. Something's going to happen here. All right? This is where the action's going. That's the sign of the direct object. Et ha-na avim. Ena ha-na avim. And grapes. Staphylane, and grapes. The word staphylane, that's the word in Greek. And I kept on pressing them unto the cup, unto the kos. In Greek it is poterion, unto the cup of Pharaoh. And I kept on giving, or I kept on setting the cup into the hand of Pharaoh. 40 and verse 12. Wayomer, Lo, Yosef, Ze, Pit Ro Now, Shilosheth, Hasarigim, Shilosheth. I said it a lot better that time. See, my tongue wasn't tied up. Yamim, Ham. That stroke in this blood sugar business and poison is about slowed me down just a little bit, I think. Got to be pretty tough to live through that. My wife came home the other day and I was in shreds. Marilyn. She came home the other day and I was in shreds, wasn't I? After that 40 blood sugar business. She looked at me and she said, anybody else would be dead. Anybody else would have just fallen over dead. Shreds. I was in shreds. If it hadn't been for Dakota, I probably would have died that day. She had to mix stuff up and feed it to me. And he kept on saying unto Joseph. Joseph means what? What's Joseph mean? To add to or to increase. Joseph did what to his family? He fed them and supplied for them. God created Joseph to be their nourisher. That's what it means, to nourish and to supply and increase. Unto him Joseph this, page 260. Pet Ronal, the interpretation, its interpretation or its laying in order. 3, the shoots. 3 days they are. 3 days they are, Yamim. 3 days they are. Look at that word, Shilosheth. All right? And Shilosheth, that means 3. Beod, Shilosheth, Yamim, Yesah, Pharaoh, Et, Roshika, Waha Shivika, Al Kenika, We Na Tati, Kosi, Pero. We got to go over one more page. Bayadal, Kamishvat, Harishon, Asher, Hayita, Mashkihu. See, it's Hebrew isn't so hard after all, is it? Beod. In still, in yet. In still, in yet 3 days. Shilosheth, 3 Yamim, 3 days. Yesah. He shall lift up, Pharaoh, your head. Look at that word, Roshika. Your head. The head of you. All right? The head of you. Rosh is the word for head. Rosh is head or beginning. The word Barashith, the first word in the Hebrew Bible, Barashith, means the very head. Way back there, Barashith means in one of the beginnings, in one of the heads, in one of the starts. In John 1:1, it says NRK, that is singular, and in Hebrew, that Barashith is an old plural. A lot of people aren't even aware of that. Roshika, and your head, and he shall return you. Third person masculine singular Hifel, while consecutive perfect, and he shall return you unto your place. Kenaki. kanika, unto your place, we natata. And you shall give the cup of Pharaoh, you shall give, as you shall keep on giving, or you shall have given, in his hand, the yod. Yod is hand. Yod. In Greek is care. All right? In hand, ka mishvat, like it happened before, like it used to be, in the good old days. The former, the earlier, harishon. Look at that word, harish, in the head, a long time ago, in one of the beginnings. In one of the beginnings in your life, you were a cupbearer. So we're going to go back to that beginning in your life. Barashith is beginnings, but now we're talking about a beginning right here. In this beginning as a cupbearer, you're going to go back and you're going to do just like you used to when you had first been placed as a cupbearer or a wine taster for Pharaoh. He would taste the wine first in that cup, and then he would give it to Pharaoh, because Pharaoh would know that it's all right. If he drank it and he's alive still in a few minutes, it's all right for me to drink it. When you had become his cupbearer, when you had become his cupbearer, when you had become hayita, when you had become his cupbearer. I have you were there, but actually it says you had become. That's how it should be. You had become. You had become. Ki. 40 and verse 14. Ki, im, zakar, tani, itaka, ka'ashur, yitav, lak, we asita, na, imadi, hased, we, his kartani, el, pero, wa hot si tani, ha, hab bayit, no, men, ha, ya. I'll get it right in a minute. I'm reading backwards. Men, ha, bayit. Hazeh. Is that where that one ends? Okay, it is. But here we have this little word which means but, ki, but or because. If you have that word if there in, if you have remembered, second person masculine singular, cal perfect. If you have remembered with yourself when, ka'ashur means when. It is well. It keeps on being good. Tov. See that word tov in there? And God did this and God did that, and He saw, and it became good. It not was good, but it became good. It wasn't good, but it became good. Tov. Okay? And it kept on being good to you. And you do, second person masculine, singular, cal, while consecutive perfect, and you do, I beg or please with me, kindness. The word kindness there, hased, that's like the word charis, grace. All right? Grace. Do with me a kindness, or do with me, actually the word grace there, here it means righteousness. Do with me a righteousness, hased. The Bible calls the Messiah the man of loving kindness, or the man of righteousness, the man that bestows righteousness and kindness. In Hebrew is what it says. Man that bestows righteousness and kindness. And Joseph here is begging this man, when you get back where you're going, remember me and do me a kindness. Do me a righteousness. Okay? Do me a good turn. And you mention me unto Pharaoh. Unto Pharaoh. Mention me unto Pharaoh. Pharaoh means what? The guy in the big house. Okay? and you bring me out. Second person masculine, hifal, wow, consecutive perfect. Second person masculine singular says you, and then the suffix is first person construct singular, you bring me out. That's all in that word right there. We ha si tani. Men from, page 577, the house, ha vayit, the house, the this. The this, ha ze. Ha is the, and ze is this. 40 and verse 15. 40 and verse 15. Ki. Gunav. Gunaviti. Me'eretz. Ha Ivrim. Wigam. Tha. Lo. Asiti. Miyuma. Ki. Samu. Oti. Babur. Babur. Because stolen, I was stolen. Infinitive, absolute PL. Infinitive, absolute PL, that's what it is. Because I kept on being stolen from land. Me'eretz, from the land. From the land of the Hebrews, from beyond the river. That's what it means, from beyond the river. These people originally came on from beyond what river? What was the river they originally came from beyond? The Euphrates. Then they came in, and then they crossed the Jordan too. Yeah. Now he's down here in Egypt. The people from beyond the river. And also here, not. Look what the word. There's another word for not right there, lo. That's another adverb of negation. Not I have done a thing. Miyuma, not a thing, that I should have been placed. Third person corporal plural, perfect. That I should have been placed, and that word is sham there. Look at that word sham in the middle of it there. That I should have been placed, me, in dungeon, in pit. Remember what happened to Joseph the first time? What happened? Where did his brothers throw him? Into a cistern. Actually, it wasn't a well. It was a cistern or a cesspool, one or the other. They had cesspools out there. They would go out there and they would have a place where it was an outhouse. And everybody would go down there and do their business there, and it was in a hole in the ground. And some places out there in rock, they would also put water. Water would run in there, and they would put it in there. It wouldn't evaporate. They'd put a rock over the top of it and everything as well. Well, this well or cesspool that Joseph was thrown into, remember, he was thrown into it. That's another dungeon. Jeremiah, I believe, was thrown into a cesspool up to his armpits in human refuse. And they left him there. Before they put him in there, they took a chisel or a punch and a hammer and knocked his teeth out. So he'd have a toothache all the time he was there. It wasn't going to be enough to throw him in the cesspool, but they're going to make every time that he breathes or whatever, he's going to have a lot of pain in his mouth because they've been preaching to him, remember? That weeping prophet, Jeremiah. So they busted his teeth out and threw him in a cesspool up to his armpits. Well, they had thrown Joseph in this cesspool, but it was dry. Okay? He was in that dungeon. He hadn't done anything. What was Joseph's job over his brothers? He watched over them. He was their overseer. He was their shepherd. He was the youngest, but he was their shepherd. Okay? He did have one brother younger than him, Benjamin. All right? But he was younger than all of them, but he was their shepherd, their watcher. I was stolen from the land of the Hebrews, and since I've been here, I haven't done anything wrong that I should have been thrown in this dungeon or this pit down here. 40 and verse 16. Now we have the baker's dream. All right, the baker's, and what was this? This was a hypnotic trance from God, wasn't it? Ha-afim. Wayar, Tsar, Ha-afim, Ki, Tov, Patar, Wayomar, El, Yosef, Off, Ani, Ba Cholomni, Wihene, Shalosha, Saleh, Share, Al, Roshi. And he saw. Here's that word raw right there. Jehovah Roeh. This is where this comes from. The Jehovah, the one that watches over us. Joseph was the shepherd of his people, and he was also the supplier of his people. He was the one that would supply their needs. He was the one that would redeem them and supply food for them. And he saw and kept on seeing the chief, the one baking, masculine plural, cal participle, that good he had interpreted, and he said, third person masculine singular, cal, well, consecutive, and perfect. Can you say that real fast? Third person masculine singular, cal, well, consecutive, and perfect. And he kept on saying unto Joseph. Now he's all excited. He's talking to Joseph. Now he's going to tell him about his dream. And Joseph means to increase, to multiply, to make rich, to supply. Also I, off ani, also I, in my dream, in my hypnotic trance. And behold, Shiloshah, 3 saleh baskets of chari, white bread, upon El Roche, my head. All right? Upon my head. Turn this old machine over here. Actually, I'm not turning the machine over. I'm turning the tape over in the machine. 40 and verse 17. Yuba Saul. Ha-Leyon. Ha-Elyon, that is. Mikol. Makal. Para. Ma'aseh. Afeh. We. Ha-Oph. Okel. Otam. Men. Hasal. Mial. Roshi. And in basket. And in basket. Look at that. And in basket. The upper, the most high, Ha-Elyon, the most high, the highest, from all the food of Pharaoh, of deeds or of work. The highest deeds of the work of the baker. And the birds, Ha-Yo'of, and the birds, the wing flappers. We're in Lakota, what is that? Dakota? How do you say wing flapper in Lakota? Wombly. Wombly. Dakota, when she was young, I taught her Lakota more before I taught her English. Wombly, wing flapper. You know what? In Hebrew, it means wing flapper also. That's exactly what it means in Hebrew. Wing flapper. Just like in Hebrew. And the birds, Wahoshaf. The wing flappers. Say that, the wing flappers. Eating them from the basket, from upon my roshi, my head, the top of me, my head, the roshi. 40 and verse 18 now. Waya'an, Yosef, Wayomer, Zeh, Pithronau, Shilosheth, Hasa'al, let me get it right, Hasalim, Shilosheth, Yamim, Hem. And he caught up in speech, and he answered. And he kept on catching up in speech, and he answered Joseph, third person masculine singular, Calwell, consecutive, and perfect. Joseph. What does Joseph mean? Increase, to supply. And he kept on saying this. Its interpretation. What does the word interpretation mean? It means to line it up, to recount. All right, its interpretation. 3, the baskets. 3 days, they. 3 days they. Now you can put are down there. That's a practical substantive. It's not really there, but it means 3 days they are. All right, doom for the baker. Behold, Shilosheth, Yamin, Yesah, Pharaoh, Et, Roshika, Mialika, We, Tala, Otka, El, Etz, We Akal, Ha-Oph, Eth, Bisarika, Mialika. In yet 3 days shall keep on lifting up, third person masculine, singular, cal, and perfect, shall keep on lifting up Pharaoh your head from upon you, and he shall have hung, is what it literally says. He shall have hung. He speaks as if this is already perfect tense. He shall have hung. Third person masculine, singular, cal, while consecutive, perfect. He will have hung. This is what we call a future perfect. This is prophecy. He will have hung you upon a tree, and he shall have eaten, the birds, the wing flappers, your flesh from upon you. He's going to hang you out to dry.
Is that because in those days part of the funeral process was to leave the bodies out and let the birds eat?
Well, a criminal was not allowed a burial. Back in, Egypt was a place of tombs. It was a big graveyard. But this man, the criminals were not allowed to be buried. They left them out there for the hyenas and the wolves and whatever wanted to eat them, the crows, the vultures, whatever.
All common people were put in a tomb in Egypt?
Even the common people, even common people were somewhat embalmed. You could tell the commoners by their teeth because they had to eat common food, but they buried all of them. But the criminals in Jesus' time, when they crucified those criminals, I get where I can't talk. Those criminals, one on each side of him, they were not put in graves. They were thrown out in the dump.
It wasn't like that in Assyria, was it?
They left them on the stakes.
Yeah.
They left them on the stakes, staked out. The Catholic Church, where it was 120 miles, I believe, one time, they had killed Baptists and put their heads on sticks on the side of a road. You couldn't walk 50 feet without seeing a former Baptist head on the side of a stick. And, of course, they laid their bodies out there at the rock. In China, they had a revolution in China. The government kind of just went flop over money, and their leaders in China, they were some bad ones. For about 300-400 years there, they had some real bad leaders. China was the most advanced country in the world. But there were pirates that would come in there, and they would go into a town and kill everybody in the town and just pillage the whole place. And they said they had killed so many people, they would take those sharp swords and they'd cut their heads off, and they'd throw their bodies in ravines and completely fill up the ravines. And the outlaws, these pirates that would come along the sea and go into a town, they would go in there and take prisoners. They would rape the women and then cut their throats and throw their bodies in ravines, and just fill the ravines up with their bodies of rotting flesh, and they would stay there until the stink was so bad they had to go someplace else. Couldn't stand the smell.
Is there
Yes.
anywhere in the Bible says what, in Genesis, what the baker did to deserve death for the Pharaoh and the cupbearer did not?
All we know is that both of them sinned. We don't know what they did. It said they sinned. Huh?
Or made him mad?
No, they sinned. Hebrews says they sinned. They sinned against Pharaoh. They sinned against Pharaoh. They did something bad to him. Something bad that deserved death. But Pharaoh forgave one the cupbearer, the wine taster, but he killed the other one. Okay.
Deserving death could be anything in the Pharaoh's eyes, like anything of
Well, they sinned. Chata, they sinned against Pharaoh. It does not say how they sinned. The word sin there means to miss the mark. Whatever they're supposed to be doing, they didn't do it.
It wouldn't have to be a huge amount. But
Well,
purposely did something wrong.
well, first of all, when a man was made a eunuch and lived in the house of the king, Pharaoh, he was given special privileges. Okay? He was given special privileges. Even the Hebrews had eunuchs. Even the Jewish people had eunuchs. But the eunuchs, because they had lost all of their right to procreate and everything else, they gave them special privileges. And these people, these eunuchs, had special privileges. Potiphar had special privileges. He even had a wife. Even though he didn't need one, he had one for decoration. But these people here, whatever they did, they missed the mark. They did something that was wrong against Pharaoh. And it became, look at that word, and it became in day the third day from the birth to be born there. All right, ha-lad-death. It comes from yilad, which means to be birthed. From his birth, that Pharaoh, that he made a feast. From all his, or for all his servants, or all his slaves. And he lifted up the head of the chief, cupbearer, this is the wine taster, and the head of the chief of the bakers, the ones baking in the middle of his servants. Now what he did is he took them out of the pit, the dungeon where they were. He lifted them up out of the dungeon. Joseph was put in a dungeon in his former country, and they lifted him up out of there. They sold him twice before he ever got out of the dungeon. Did you know that? Joseph was sold 2 times before he was ever taken out of that dungeon, out of that snake pit or cesspool, whatever he was in. So he lifted him up he lifted up the baker and the wine taster from the prison, out of this dungeon, this enclosed dungeon. 40 and verse 21 now, we will get here and then we'll turn you loose. Why Yashen, Et, Sar, Ha Mashkim, All Mashkehu, Why Yitin, Hakos, All Kof, Pero. And he returned. He kept on returning the chief, the cupbearer, unto his cupbearer, and he kept on giving the cup unto the hand of Pharaoh. The hollow of the hand, by the way. Kof is the hollow of the hand. It's not the yoke, but the hollow of the hand. In other words, he was putting his hand out like this and giving him the cup. 40 and verse 22 now. Weeth, Sar, Ha-Ophim, Ta-La, Ka-Ashur, Pathar, Lehem, Yosef. And the chief, the one baking, he had hung, as he had recounted and interpreted to them Joseph. Exactly like it does. He had interpreted him, Joseph. All right. 40 and verse 23. Wilo, Zakar, Sar, Ha-Mashkim, Et, Yosef, Wayish Ka Shehu. And not he had remembered, chief, the cupbearers, Joseph. And he kept on forgetting him. And he kept on forgetting him. He kept on forgetting him. Well, you know what? When God has a plan, God won't let you forget to plan with him. We're going to find out the rest, that Joseph will not be allowed to be forgotten. So we went from, where did we start tonight? 40 and, where was that? 40 and verse 3, wasn't it? 40 and verse 3. 40 and verse 3. 40 and verse 3 through 40 and verse 23. The whole rest of the chapter. Now we're going to be in 41 and verse 1 next week. 41 and verse 4. Thank you for. Do you have any questions? Brother Mike, you have any questions? Oh, you have good questions.
Let's read his T-shirt. Let's see if you think it's interesting.
All right.
You read that?
Hell on the border, Fort Smith, Arkansas. That's what, brother. That's where my grandfather was in that prison for almost a year.
Kathy bought me that.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where Sam Paul was in that prison for almost a year. He should have died in that prison. He was tough.
Bad reputation, huh?
Yeah. Well, he was in that prison for almost a year, and he lived. He was in rough shape when he got out. I got a picture of him before he went and when he got out. It was sure a different guy. About 60 pounds different in weight. He liked to died in that prison. Well, we'll start in 41 and verse 1 next week, if the Lord spares my life. That's all I can say, if I make it till next week. If not, you've got all I had now. Brother Mike, thank you for coming tonight. Are you scared to get up here and dismiss us in prayer? No, you don't want to do that, huh? All right, I won't make you. All right. Well, let's have a prayer. I almost knocked the wind out of me when I said that. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the word that you gave us tonight. Thank you for allowing me to teach one more time. Every day I wake up, it's a surprise. And I thank you for giving me the strength to do this tonight, even though I falter and clamber along the best I can. I thank you for that. I thank you for all the students we have out there all over the world and those that were faithful enough to come here tonight. I pray that these words encourage those people out there today as it goes out in your name. I pray that if there's one lost out there that they will be saved. I pray if there's one out there that's not serving the Lord that they will have the conviction to follow you and to give their life to you. The sermon that went out this morning, the Lord of the Graveyard, I pray that you will save souls with people listening to that sermon. And I pray that you bless these words as they go out tonight. And forgive me where I fail you. And I thank you for giving me a chance to preach your word, because I know that's what I'm supposed to do. It's real good to know what I'm supposed to do, that I'm in the middle of your will for my life. Forgive me where I fail you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
So I have a non-biblical question.
Yeah.
How old were you when you decided to go to seminary?
The seminary? I was about 20 something. I